Good afternoon, it's meteorologist Michael Fecka. Welcome back to the afternoon streaming update we do here every day at 2:30. We'll go over our latest forecast here and then we'll transition over to our news headlines for this afternoon. But let's get started with looking at our forecast here. And well, it's going to be pretty nice, especially as we head through 4th of July weekend. We're already starting to feel a little bit of a warm up out there. We've warmed all the way up into the lower 90s so far, and we'll continue that trend into the 90s as we go through tomorrow, Saturday, and into Sunday. And we should also remain mostly dry during that time period as well. So that is great news as well, especially for those outdoor festivities. You really shouldn't have much in the way of any trouble with the weather. Now, rain chances do eventually return as we get into the beginning and middle of next week. It looks like we'll have a little bit more of an unsettled pattern taking shape there with this stationary front that doesn't really want to move all that much. And I'll break down all of that in a little bit more detail here as we go through our show here. But let's start off with our current temperatures. We already warmed up to around 91 here in Evansville. A lot of other areas in the region topping out in the 80s so far. We still got a couple of more degrees to go as we go through the rest of this afternoon. So we'll likely tack on maybe another degree here in the Evansville area. But what is really nice, especially compared to last week, is that while it is still technically humid out there, it's more ordinary humidity. It's very tolerable. Dew points are in the low to mid 60s across the tri-state as opposed to the mid to upper 70s, which is what we were seeing last week. That was that very stifling air mass where it was just so thick it feels like you were wearing the air. It's a lot less humid out there, but you can still feel a little bit of that stickiness as you go throughout the day. But it's really not enough to prompt any sort of heat advisory or heat warnings in the tri-state. So we should be good on that for the rest of the day and even as we get into tomorrow. Now we do start to see those heat index values creep back up 100 or a little bit above by the time we get into Saturday and Sunday, but then it looks like we'll start to cool back down a little bit as we get into the beginning of next week as we're tracking out more chances for showers. But here's a look at our setup across the U.S. right now. We've got high pressure in place, locked in right over the middle of the country here. So you can see there's an absence of clouds and showers ranging all the way from the central plains and up towards the mid-Atlantic there. A few pop-ups kind of popping up there along the coast. We do have this frontal boundary to our north that's sending a cold front into portions of New England. So we're seeing some severe weather taking shape up there with a couple of warnings. And then we've got this other area of low pressure up in the northern plains that's going to bring them a few more showers and storms. But this high pressure is going to block all that from moving in our direction, at least for the next few days. So we're not really too concerned with any rain out there, especially as we get into tomorrow. But here's a look at our current satellite and radar. Mostly sunny across the tri-state. You'll see these little white dots. Those are just those fair weather puffy cumulus clouds that are just bubbling up through the heating of the day. Now there is a very, very, very low chance maybe someone gets a sprinkle if one of those clouds develop further, but I'm not really expecting that to happen today or tomorrow. But looking at our reflectivity, you can see really not scanning any sort of raindrops across the tri-state. So a beautiful, dry afternoon for our Thursday. And as we go through the rest of the night tonight, it's really going to stay perfect. We'll remain mostly clear. Temperatures, of course, will be on the warmer side, especially as we go into this evening. We know we've got fireworks happening tonight in Henderson. That starts at around 9:15, I believe. Temperatures should be dropping through the 80s at that point. It'll still be a little bit muggy, but it'll be clear, and it'll still be nice to enjoy those outdoor festivities. And then same thing, as we go into Friday, we'll have another beautiful day, mostly sunny skies. It is going to be hot again. We'll top out in the lower 90s, and that humidity, while it isn't as bad as last week, it is still going to be a little bit elevated, so you want to keep that in mind. It won't be refreshing, but it'll be more typical and what we'd expect for the beginning of July here in the tri-state. So here's a look at that firework forecast as we go into this evening there. Starting at 8 p.m., going through 10 p.m. tonight. We'll start off in the mid-80s, dropping down into the low 80s by around 9 o'clock, and then bottoming out in the 70s as we go through the overnight hours with mostly clear skies. No chances for rain through the overnight hours. And as we get into tomorrow, our 4th of July forecast, kicking things off at lunchtime. A lot of people are going to start grilling their hot dogs and hamburgers at that time. We're having family starting to come in, and we're going to get that party started. It's going to be nice. 90 degrees at that point, ample sunshine. Very low chances for showers and storms. And then as you go through the rest of the afternoon, you're taking a dip in the pool. Temperatures will continue to warm back up into the lower 90s. It will remain hot and humid out there, but again, nothing we can't really handle here. And then as you start to get tired, we hear those fireworks go off at 9 o'clock. It'll be around 84 degrees, still a little bit warm and muggy. clear, but very little chance for showers. So really, really nice setup here as we head into the 4th of July weekend. But looking at our dew point trend, we will remain a little bit muggy here through Sunday. And then as we get into the beginning of next week, it does look like we start to pop back up into that muggy or even stifling category. So it does get a little bit more humid there. And with that, temperatures will still remain in the 90s. So as we get into this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, it will still top out in those heat index values into the lower 100s, but it should remain below that heat advisory level. So hopefully we don't really see it getting too hot out there, but again, it is still important you take into account these heat safety tips. You don't want to risk any heat-related illnesses. So, of course, especially as you get into this weekend, not so much tomorrow, especially Saturday and Sunday, you still want to try and reduce or reschedule that activity outside to the cooler time of day. So either morning or later on in the evening. And if you are going to be outside throughout the day, which I know most of us are, going to the lakes, the pools, whatever have you, make sure you're wearing some lightweight, light-colored clothing that helps reflect that heat and sunlight away from your body. And of course, drinking plenty of fluids. Hopefully, you're relying on water for your hydration and not beer this weekend, but I understand it's a holiday weekend. But try not to, drink too much, especially out in the sun. And you also don't want to get any sunburn because that actually makes it a lot harder to cool down. So making sure you're wearing your sunscreen, and that's important because here's a look at that UV index forecast, topping out at an 11. So if you can still find some shade at wherever you are, you definitely want to at least seek some times of shade. If you're going to be outside all day, you want to wear a shirt, a hat, and sunglasses, and especially if you're a fair-skinned friend, you want to make sure that you are putting on that sunscreen because you could burn in less than 15 minutes. So keeping all of that in check, we should be good to go as we go through this weekend, and everybody will stay safe and happy there. Now, looking beyond the holiday weekend and into next week, as I mentioned, it is going to get a little bit more unsettled. Doesn't look like we'll have a washout of a week here, but it does look like daily chances for showers and storms do return at least through the beginning of next week. And the Climate Prediction Center outlook for our precipitation is also kind of highlighting that there with above average precip through the second week of July. So looking at our rain and storm chances, you'll see they start to ramp up a little bit. Again, they're not great rain chances, but it is more of that afternoon pop-up type shower and storm activity, and it's going to kind of be ignited there by that stationary front that's going to be draped over the Ohio River Valley. So here's a look at our future radar, our longer range European model. This takes us at Sunday afternoon. We do have a slight chance for a shower, but again, most of us look to remain dry. And then as that front sinks southward, that's where we'll start to see better chances for showers and storms Monday, Tuesday, and then again on Wednesday and into Thursday. And now I'm mentioning again, it's not going to be a washout or a widespread of rain all day on any of those days, but someone at least has a chance for a shower or a storm each day as we go through next week. Looking at our temperature outlook, we will remain either right around normal or slightly above. So likely heading into the upper 80s to lower 90s as we go through the second week of July. But you can even see that trend there. We're going to pop up a good bit above average here, around 5 or 6 degrees above average, especially through the weekend. And then as that front starts to sink its way southward, we increase our rain chances. That helps cool things down a little bit back to the upper 80s to lower 90s, at least through the middle of next week. So there's a look at your 7-day forecast. Just to wrap everything up here, beautiful as we head through the end of the work week here and into the holiday weekend. Better chances for daily showers and thunderstorms do arrive as we go through Monday and Wednesday of next week. As of right now, it doesn't look like there's anything remarkably severe or about this setup here. It kind of just looks like your typical summertime torrential downpours. We do have that isolated risk for maybe some localized flooding under any heavy downpours, especially for Monday. So that's really the only thing you're going to have to keep an eye out for. Otherwise, a pretty good 7-day forecast if you ask me, especially for it being a holiday. A lot of the times we don't really get that lucky on the holidays here. So that's good news. So let me go ahead and check out the comments here. If you guys have any questions for me, please feel free to leave them down below. It looks like Tyler says it's perfect with the shades and the sunglasses. Amazing, I agree. Watching from Henderson, says Lacey. She's planning to watch the fireworks in Henderson as well as Evansville. That's right. Henderson is tonight. Evansville and Owensboro is tomorrow. And then I believe Newburgh is going to be on Saturday. So you've got at least 3 full days here of fireworks that you can attend to. And it looks like Good work. Keep it up, says Maya. It looks like she's really happy with this forecast, and I'm happy I can deliver that great news for you. So that is all I see here in the comments. I'm going to hop off the live stream here, but don't go anywhere yet. We've got Jamie and Rob here, and they're going to go over our latest news headlines for the afternoon.
Stay informed on your local news and weather throughout the day by watching the 14 First Alert streaming shows. At 8:30 a.m., get your First Alert forecast to plan the day ahead and catch up on the news that happened overnight with the 14 News Sunrise team. In the afternoon, get the latest headlines, forecasts, and a preview of the stories we're working on with the 14 First Alert streaming show at 2:30. And get an in-depth look at the 14 First Alert forecast so you're ready for the next big thing with the 14 First Alert weather show at 9 p.m. Watch the 14 First Alert streaming show that fits your schedule and works best for you. Streaming on your phone by downloading the 14 News app and the 14 First Alert weather app. On your smart TV by using the 14 News streaming app. And stream anytime on Facebook, YouTube, or on 14news.com. Stay connected and stay informed by watching the 14 First Alert streaming shows on your favorite streaming devices. Live from 14 News, this is a 14 Digital News Desk update.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us for our 2:30 streaming show. I'm Jamie French.
And I'm Robinson Miles. Thank you for taking just a little bit of your time today. We know we're leading into a holiday weekend. People have a lot of stuff going on, but the 16 of you currently watching can rest assured that you're just better than most people.
Yeah,
so
we like you guys.
True, the best ones. So we do have a few kind of lighter stories leading into this holiday weekend. First item of business, to our weathercaster who just got off, that first comment was not perfect with sunglasses. It was Michael Perfecta with sunglasses. I'm sorry. You can't just breeze past that one. That needs to be acknowledged, and so we shall.
Absolutely.
Well, that brings us to our first headline. We are starting something new in Evansville.
That's right, and it launches tomorrow. It's called Dora. It's Designated Outdoor Refreshment Area. So this will launch with the 4th of July during the fireworks over the Ohio event on the riverfront. Basically, Dora allows people over 21 to drink alcohol within a specific area outdoors.
Now, this is something we've been watching for a long time. Now, they say there are, of course, a few rules related to this. The alcoholic beverage must be consumed from a designated Dora cup. Now, those are sold from approved vendors and drank within those very specific Dora boundaries. Now, downtown Evansville leaders say they've been in communication with Evansville police, and they're going to have off-duty law enforcement patrols. Now, there's going to be lots of signs with the rules, signs that tell you where to go to get the cups, directions to the area, and we're going to have even more information on this just a little bit later. Leslie Chapman is going to be taking a closer look at this before our evening shows tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And this could have a very big economic impact, you know, if a lot of that alcohol is sold from downtown businesses. So she's going to take a deeper look at that as well. Also, something very exciting for today and leading into the holiday weekend. Finally, horse racing is back in the tri-state. It kicked off today, the 103rd Summer Meet at Ellis Park.
Now, the post time for the 2025 live racing promotions was 11:50 earlier today. Now, Dollar Days will be held every Sunday. Mad Money Mondays will be, you guessed it, on Monday. Now, the stakes schedule offers a record $4 million this year across 18 races. Now, tomorrow, Ellis is hosting a hometown hero celebration, along with a hot dog eating contest, recognition of local heroes, free American flag and t-shirt giveaway, best decorated pony contest, and free food. Now, the season ends on Sunday, August 4th, so a lot of things to get excited for there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a Best Decorated Pony contest tomorrow. So if you're headed out to Ellis, snap some photos and send them to our newsroom, please, just for my own personal enjoyment.
Yeah, I feel like that's something I should be aware of, and I was not. I need to see how this shows up.
We need to see that. Yeah,
really excited. Well, this really is such a fun time of year, of course, leading into the holiday. A lot of fun stuff going on. As we mentioned, we've got reporters working on these and a lot of other stories, so we're going to have a lot more detailed look around the tri-state for you tonight in our evening shows and beyond.
Yeah, of course, we will wrap it up for this afternoon. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.